What's up gamers, in today's video I'm going to be talking about the lamenter of all lamenters, otherwise known as Xiao. We're going to be talking about if you should or why you should pull for him. He's coming in the next 2 days and you might want to know if he's worth your precious primogems. Keep in mind that this isn't a guide video, I'm just letting you know more about his kit and his playstyle. But before I start the video, I would like to ask you to join the Discord down below. It's filled with very normal individuals that talk about very normal stuff and have normal names. But no, actually, what is this name? If you do decide to join, don't join their cult. Please be normal. The link will be in the description and the comment section because I know how lazy you guys can get. So since I hate long intros and I know you probably do too, let's get straight into the video. Lament! So Xiao is a main DPS character. He's actually different from most main DPS characters because he doesn't like to stay on the ground for some reason. He's always jumping up and down on his pogo stick. But with the release of Xianyan, I guess he isn't that special, but that's besides the point. His normal attacks are just simple normal attacks that do physical damage and nothing else. But for his size, I've got to say his normal attacks are quite aggressive. He's also one of the few polearm characters that doesn't do this with his charge attack, but instead he does this. And Xiao, you're not going to get applauded because Raiden does this with her charge attack and, well, Raiden's simply just better. There's actually more to his normal attacks than meets the eye, but we'll get into that later. Now let's talk about his elemental skill. It's actually pretty straightforward and is relatively simple. When you do his skill, he just lunges forward and you can lunge twice and it does a decent amount of damage. A cool thing you can do with his E is that if you're gliding or if you miraculously find yourself in the air, you can just do his skill mid-air, which is pretty cool. Every time you do his skill, you generate 3 energy particles, and you can do it twice. So according to my mathematical calculations, this means his skill can generate 6. Trust me, I go to school. But again, that's all it can do and it's pretty simple. I wonder what other 5-star animal character has a basic elemental skill. Anyway, let's talk about his elemental burst, which is actually pretty interesting. First, he puts on a scary mask and becomes even more aggressive, like
Daddy, chill.
Well, because he's super aggressive now, he loses a bit of his HP. Actually, to be precise, he loses 2% of his HP every 2 seconds. And well, because of this, it's best to run a healer with him. I wonder who. Anyway, when you do his burst, he has the ability to jump super high. He then infuses his normal attacks with a Nemo and gets an attack increase, which will be helpful for doing more plunge damage, since that's his main playstyle. It also gives his plunges a larger AoE. So with all that being said, when you play with him, he's going to do well against both single target and AoE situations. Now because he's going to be doing plunge attacks, you're going to want to level up his normal attack talent. Not for the normal attacks, but because his plunge multiplier will go up, which will result in more damage. Plus, if you're a mega pro Xiao player like me, you know that in order to maximize his damage, you're going to have to weave in some normal attacks in his combos, which means they're somewhat useful, only in his burst form though. Now Xiao actually has 2 different types of plunge attacks, a high plunge and a low plunge. Now aside from their names, these plunges are actually pretty different. Who would have known? When you do a low plunge, he does less damage and has a smaller AoE. Times where you'd want to use a low plunge is if the enemy is almost dead and you want to kill it quickly in the spiral abyss. This is because it's pretty fast to cast. Simply plunge the second he jumps. Now, his high plunge does the most damage, has the biggest AoE, and makes him jump higher. Most times you're going to be using this because who doesn't like more damage? Some other small things to know about his burst is that it has a 15-second duration with an 18-second cooldown, which is pretty cool. And it also has a 70 energy cost, so you might want some energy recharge on him. And lastly, if you do his burst and swap into another character, then swap back to Xiao, he'll no longer want to lament on the enemies and you'd have to get his burst back again. But that's not a problem because Farzan can just funnel some energy for your boy. Anyway, now for his passives. Lament! His first passive basically just increases his damage the longer he's in his burst. This passive isn't that special, but that doesn't mean it's bad because the damage increase is actually pretty good. It goes up by 5% every 3 seconds and maxes at a 25% damage increase, which isn't bad. Now for his second passive. What it does is that it increases his elemental skill's damage the more times you use it in a row, going up to a max of 3 stacks. This passive is meh. It's not really that helpful, but it's there if you want it. But now that you know everything about his kit and what he does, let's move on to his talent priorities. Now, since you're watching this video, I want you to be different from everybody else. A lot of people actually focus on leveling up his elemental burst first and actually prioritize it. But No. His first priority should be his normal attacks. This is because he has one of the highest plunge attack multipliers in the game. And since his playstyle revolves around plunging, then leveling his normal attacks up for the plunge damage increase is your #1 priority. His burst should be leveled up second because leveling it up actually increases his damage, but not as much as his normal attacks. His elemental skill should be leveled up third. It's just super basic. It simply does damage, and that's the problem. It also doesn't generate him any energy when you're in his burst. So if you want energy, then you're going to have to do his skills and then his burst, which is just an L. Although, don't ignore it. But in summary, level up his normal attacks first, then his burst, and lastly, his elemental skill. Now hi there my lovely viewer, it's super cool that you managed to get this far into the video. If you got this far because you like my content, why not consider liking, subscribing, and joining my Discord down below. It's super fun over there because I host giveaways from time to time. There are many super fun members there that also have questionable names and say questionable stuff, but if you need help building a character or making certain teams, we can definitely help you. If you heard something you like, whether you want to troll me by having a questionable name, or if you need help building a character, or if you just like giveaways, then the Discord is just the place for you. The link will be in the comment section and the description, and it takes 1 second to join, so why not? But now let's get into Xiao's best teams. Now Xiao has a few pretty good teams, and I'm not going to be talking about every single one, but expect a video on that coming later. For now, I'm going to just talk about the best ones. Starting with this team, a Xiao hypercarry team. It basically consists of Xiao, Frina, Farazan, and Xianyun. Xiao is the main DPS of the team, of course. He gets a lot of buffs from everyone else. Frina buffs him with her burst and also provides a lot of sub DPS damage. Farazan is just an amazing buffer, and if you have her at C6, your Xiao will hit like a truck. Xianyun fills out the role of being a healer while also buffing plunge damage. Everyone helps Xiao do more damage, and this is what makes the team super strong. Now it's definitely not the most free-to-play friendly team, so the free-to-plays must sit there and cope, but the light spenders and whales are just fine. You can also run the exact same team but swap Xianyun out with Bennett. Now it's definitely not going to be better, and you will run into some survivability problems since Frina's draining HP, so is Xiao, and Bennett isn't a team-wide healer, but it's still a good team. You could also run Xiao, Xianyun, Bennett, and Farazan. These are all really good Xiao teams, and he really shines in them. They all kind of feel the same, just with one different character, but damage is damage. Anyway, now for the last question. Should you pull? In my opinion, I think that Xiao is a pretty good character. If you want him and like his playstyle, then you should 100% go for him. His damage is pretty good, and he actually just got buffed because of the release of Bird Mom. I don't think he's a must pull, but he's still a really good character. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, why not like, subscribe, and join my Discord down below. It only takes a few clicks, and I know you have the time. Also make sure to let me know down below if you're going to be pulling for Xiao. But anyway, thanks for watching, bye.